Hi, everyone. This is Manny Velasquez from Connections Magazine, and today we are with Aaron from Tour Guide Peru. Aaron, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Well, thank you so much for this little Zoom interview. Now, our new way to communicate. Well, Tour Guide Peru is tailor-made tours to Machu Picchu mostly, and we create from zero to hero as the 7-day experience to Machu Picchu, basically. That includes a nice stop, couple days in Lima, and then we go over the Andes. And of course, the goal is to see this archaeological monument that it's well known by many of us.
Now, you and I have actually had a chance to meet in person. So I'm going to ask, first of all, how you are doing. How is your family handling the situation? How are you personally?
Well, personally, like um, like many people, I think we've been struggling, not knowing what is going to happen in the future. Even nowadays, I cannot tell you what is going to happen exactly. Uh, it was difficult, but in some way, the people who survived from 2007 and 2009 issues in Peru, and I can tell you a little bit in a second, we have been prepared for this kind of issues. In 2007, we have the big earthquake in Peru, and in 2009, the train tracks actually collapsed because
Oh,
the river overflowed. So we didn't have a Machu Picchu for 4 months.
oh, wow.
Now this probably is going to be a little bit more than 4 months, and what I see for the future of tourism is that it's going to be completely different. We been offering tours for small groups. We we can actually guide a one single traveler to a group of 8 or 9. 10 is the top of a group, because the idea of the company is to actually not just to show Peru like a book. It's actually to make people actually interact with people, with local, with entrepreneurs, because Tour Guide Peru as the face, it's just me, but behind me there is another 16 people. That it's behind the scenes, and sometimes you see them, other guides, other families. Uh, so in that context, we've been kind of prepared. Of course, um, the unknown when the borders are going to be open, it's always an issue.
So
The
tell me.
family it's doing fine, and we're trying not to overstress with news. So that's what we're doing.
That's a plus. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what Peru is doing right now. You mentioned the borders are closed, but what are some of the other things that Peru is doing right now to deal with the COVID-19 situation?
Well, Peru is one of the first countries in South America that decided to close the borders completely to other to international flights, and being managing the humanitarian flights to return people. It's been a long process, and if we not just check the news in Peru, it's been an issue around the world. So just focusing on talking about tourism just in one specific place, it will seem like, okay, this is never going to end. But we have to, in tourism, we have to see it globally. And that's back in 2002 when I started just with the idea to work in tourism. Is in general, I do not expect anything from the government, and I do not expect anything from them. What I do is to work with private companies, or in this case, in the last 9 years with entrepreneurs, is that we have to create our own future. So that's the most important. And the way that we are going to see the tourism in the future is not going to be 100% the government is going to support us. I don't think any government has the whole power to encourage the 100% of the population. So it's better to think, you have to move your own track.
And that's actually a very good lesson for any entrepreneur out there, right? Connections Magazine, which is our business, we also have had to deal with the fact that all of a sudden we are not able to travel. right? So what do? We're a travel magazine. So, and if we can't travel and we can't go to all these different places, how can we try to report what is happening in these places that we're supposed to be visiting? So it's been very stressful on all ends from everybody, not just from an economical perspective, but also mentally. You know, you have to prepare yourself. So a good business person, a good entrepreneur will hopefully have the ability to come up with all these different ideas prior to these things happening. And it's better to act instead of react, right, to the situations. So it sounds like you've been very busy acting as opposed to just reacting, because you had all these plans already ahead of time of what to do in case of something were to happen in the future, which is the best way to be able to do business, I feel. So,
Yes, yes, for sure. And let me interrupt you there, because I do have a bunch of projects that I couldn't actually put it, in perspective, because I had no time. I was on the road delivering these tours, and I was very happy actually. Every traveler that we had last year left Peru, leaving a great comment on TripAdvisor, which actually speak for our work. There is one project that we are doing the last 4 weeks, and it's the second volume of My Mother's Kitchen. Some of the people know that I published back in 2008 the first DVD called My Mother's Kitchen, just based on Peruvian cuisine. This time we're trying to go out of this part of the region, and in the next 2 weeks we're having some surprises. So we've been uploading videos on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tour Guide Peru. And we have a couple surprises for the next weeks. And we're very happy. I'm like, also that, and this is also another recommendation for anybody else, not just entrepreneurs, for anybody else. If you've been thinking in something that you are passionate, you should do it now. You should write that book. You should, if you don't have any idea, you just pick up a piece of paper and start writing all the ideas that you have for the future, because this is going to end eventually. So that's what we're doing now.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you mentioned that, because one of the things that I keep telling people is this is a time, if you really think about what's going on, we are not going to get this time or this opportunity again. Many of us have the ability to work from home, which is wonderful, but there are people out there who have been forced to work from home now. And when you're working from home, your schedules are totally different than what they would be if you were going to a regular office. So having the opportunity to be able to do that, to learn a new language, to write the great American novel or the great novel from whatever country you're from, right? Or to create even like what we're doing right now. We're having a video conversation, and this is going to be posted through our social media channels. So we are having a conversation about traveling, even though we're in two different places altogether. You're in South America, I'm in the USA, North America. So yet we're still together and we're able to have this discussion. So the ability to be able to do all those things is amazing. And a lot of people may not have realized that the huge opportunity that we have right now in our hands to do all those things. Like if you ever wanted to learn to play the guitar, well, right now is your chance to do it. There are plenty of videos on YouTube, that you can start learning to play the guitar with. Whatever you want to do, learn a new language, learn sign language, whatever makes it easier for you to not only allow yourself to get your mind out of the entire situation, but to de-stress, right? To a little bit of self-care.
In my case, every day at 6 p.m., I'm joining a class over Zoom of Zumba, the Zumba. So I'm doing that because, of course, there is no gym to go. Actually, I have an elliptical machine here at home, and it broke. Of course, it's 6 years old and it broke. So what to do? I mean, I like to exercise, and now I'm joining this Zumba.
There you go. Yeah, my kids are doing karate online too. So they have their karate lessons virtually. So yeah, all of these are happening. But tell me about Peru. Tell me about what are the most interesting spots to visit. I am from Peru. For those of you who don't know, I was actually raised in Miami. I was born in Peru, but raised in Miami since the age of 9. I went back to Peru about 25 years later. About 5 years ago, I went back, and I had not been there for about 25 years. And that's when you and I had a chance to actually meet face to face, even though we had been already connected through our industry and all that. Um, so I know that you were able to guide me through some of the different places in Peru that are the must-sees. So can you tell our listeners and viewers what are the must-see places, the must-do things in Peru that you would consider to be like your top 5 or 10?
For sure. Most of the international flights land in Lima, so my first advice is to spend a couple of days in the city of Lima and around the center of Miraflores, or even better in Barranco, and enjoy the culinary arts, a part of the architecture that we find in the historical center. But then after you decompress, because that's what happened being a traveler, you're all excited to leave your house, and all that excitement turns into a stress. You don't know that, but you turns into a stress when you get in the plane, and then if you start right away running in a tour when you landed in a country, it's not a good idea. So that's why I tell people, you distress in Lima a couple of days, and then after you visit Lima, depending on how many days you have, the traditional is to go to the Andes, to Cusco, and do all the visit over the Sacred Valley to see a different perspective of South America, which most of people doesn't know. I mean, like they don't leave their concrete cities. So being out there in the valley and take that train to Machu Picchu, it's amazing.
Can you show us some pictures as you're talking so that way we can kind of see what you're talking about?
Let me show you a little bit of Peru. Let me do this. The video is going there.
There we go. So yeah,
so actually this is the commercial I filmed a few years ago for the company, and shows a little bit of everything. This is the desert south of Lima, and of course that's Machu Picchu in the middle of the high season, which is between May and September. So the good part of Peru is that we have different, not just climates, but scenarios. We have a desert. We have not the Galapagos Island, but we have penguins from the Humboldt penguins that come from south. We have deluxe experiences. Of course, as I said, we have a culinary experiences also. One of them is in our home, what we call my mother's kitchen, and we jump through to the valley and different culinary experiences.
Ooh,
and this is Peru. That's Peru.